Guess what, everyone? I'm gonna be watching 50 Shades of Grey opening night tonight, which means I'll be making friends with a bunch of middle-aged women and the few horny teens that sneak in. Yes, I'm going to be watching 50 Shades of Grey, and yes, I am pretty sure, based on the reviews and what people are saying who have watched it advanced screening, I'm pretty sure majority of the people will think this movie is crap. You know what, honestly, I don't care if this movie is crap. All I care is if I will have a great time watching it, and I think I'll be having a heck of a good time watching it. As long as I get entertained, that's good enough for me. This topic is really, I don't know, it's really something. Because this book has been so big, it sparked up two distinctive sides. Those who favor this book, those who like this book, you know, for what it is, and those who despise this book. Those who hate everything about this, everything associated with this, and will protest the 50 Shades of Grey opening night, which I'm pretty sure I'll be expecting when I watch this movie. It's kind of like politics, like gay marriage, abortion. It's become such a big phenomenon. I want this video to serve as like the middle who kind of calms things down, because honestly, there has been so much arguing back and forth. It's not gonna get anything solved. It's not gonna do anything. No one's gonna listen to anyone. It's just who can shout louder. Everyone has their own interpretation of this film, of this book, and they will look at this film, they will read this book based on their own values. I have friends that have been in abusive relationships, and some that are currently in an abusive relationship right now. And obviously, to those people, majority of them will view 50 Shades of Grey as something that's negative. And those who are not in abusive relationships, I'm not saying everyone, but those who are not in those particular situations, they will view it in a different light. Like for me, I read the first book. I didn't read the second and third ones, but I read the first book, and majority of people are right. It's not that great of a writing, but you know what? It's a story. I enjoyed the story. It doesn't matter if it's really bad writing. Does it really matter? I can enjoy 50 Shades of Grey, and at the same time, I can enjoy Oscar Wilde. Secondly, a lot of people have a problem with BDSM because of the fact that it's taboo. The thing is, BDSM has been happening long ago. I mean, people have been living this lifestyle, practicing this long before 50 Shades of Grey. It's only taboo because we haven't been talking about it openly. So this is why 50 Shades of Grey has become such a popular book, because it's not just another romance novel. It touches base with a topic that's not really talked about comfortably with others. And then here comes the conflict. There are many of those people who complain about the fact that this book is not an accurate portrayal of BDSM, which is totally understandable. Because BDSM, to my knowledge, I'm not an expert, but I mean, I've been reading about BDSM before 50 Shades of Grey, and you know, something that I'm interested in. Based on what I've read, BDSM is all about safety, all about consent, and those are kind of like, those two on the top of my mind are kind of like the golden rules of BDSM. It's fine if they feel that way, but that's their opinion. But then again, like I said, not everyone interprets this book the same way. Not everyone's gonna view this book as rape, or view this book as someone who has gone through violence or sexual abuse or assault. What I'm trying to say is that be respectful to everyone's opinions, because not everyone's gonna think the same way. One issue I have with this whole controversy is people who think this book is like a guide, or is like a rule book that girls or females in general will look up to. That's not true. Media and books and literature, they have some sort of influence on people. Let's be honest. They have some influence. The thing is, in this situation, you have to give girls more credit than that. I doubt that majority of the girls who read this book, majority of the females, let's just categorize them females, I doubt a person is going to read this book saying, oh my god, I want my own psycho, creepy stalker who abuses me and uses violence. I think I want that in a man. No. Fantasies are not something people actually actively, physically seek out. It's something that's, it's personal. It's something that they will enjoy. It's not real. That's just how I feel. And for males, I doubt males who read this will suddenly become violent towards their spouse or their partner. There are hundreds and cases of abuse, domestic violence, stuff that happens around the world countless times, everywhere, every single day, every second, even right now as I'm making this video. It will always happen, unfortunately. It will always happen whether or not 50 Shades of Grey exists. It's a story. I'm not even talking about erotica. There's thousands of, hundreds of other stories out there. Some of them are even worse than 50 Shades of Grey. People still read them, but it doesn't mean someone's gonna commit some kind of act of crime against another person because of the book. No, because it's a story. Just like how there are TV shows about violence and some TV shows about rape. Erotic novels have been existing a long time ago. And there's been hundreds and thousands of erotic novels. Some that deal with the same cases as 50 Shades of Grey. But why is 50 Shades of Grey getting all the blame? Which brings me to my question. Are people really mad about this book? Or are they really just mad that this book got popular? I get that a lot of you are really vocal about domestic violence and abuse and rape. And I get that. I am too. But why is it that it takes a movie for you guys to become so vocal about it? Do you need this movie to donate to any domestic abuse charity? You could donate to that charity with or without this movie. Which is why I don't feel like protesting 50 Shades is necessarily gonna help your cause. If you are against these issues, it's best to just educate the public, not to inflict upon other people's rights as an individual to go out to watch this movie. A lot of people are saying that this movie, this book, is anti-feminist. And to me personally, I don't think so. We as a society have grown so much over the past decade, and feminism has grown so much to the point where it's all about female power. It's all about girl power and girl empowerment. You don't need no man. Oh god, why did I speak like that? But it's become like this is what feminism has become. It's great to see girl power. I love it. I consider myself a feminist as well. But at the same time, a lot of people are neglecting the fact that there are people out there who want the traditional role. It's kind of a shame to me that people will feel that just because some females want that traditional life, want to have a man by their side, and want to be a person that pleases their man, wants to be submissive, wants to be the housewife, they're considered as weak, and they're considered bad women. If a girl wants to have a man to complete her, you go get that, girl. Feminism as a whole, to me, is about having that choice as a woman. For this kind of film and for this kind of book, it has attracted hatred from both females and males. I get it. I get that some men do not like this movie because it's based on a Twilight fan fiction. But please, if you're a guy, I'm not trying to convince you to like this movie, but don't let other people determine whether or not you like something. If you are interested and if you're curious about this movie, go watch it. Like what you like. Don't like things because other people like it. Like something because you like it and you're interested in it and you're genuinely want to watch it. A lot of guys, they want to feel all manly, and they don't like all these romance chick flick stuff, which I don't agree with anyways. I don't believe in chick flicks. It's ridiculous. That term to me is ridiculous. So you heard about the controversial issues surrounding this book and movie. How do you feel about that?
Well, I don't know. I feel like the issues a lot are around like violence and abuse, and I don't know. On one hand, I think the book and the movie both are really focusing on the relationship that the two have together and how they have to, how they interact and how they're sort of changing each other, and not so much focusing on the violence or the BDSM aspect of it, which is what people are really like talking about. The big issue is the fact that there's like whips and chains, and he's like, you know, tying her up to have sex with her in violent ways, and it's like, that's not the focus, I think. It's just the thing that draws people in.
So when people say about how this book and film portrays unhealthy relationship, do you think it matters, or do you think it's just a story? I mean, do you think it should be a big enough problem for people to protest against?
I don't think it really warrants protest. I mean, it's a fictional work. It's not like somebody's real story. It's not glamorizing the sexual violence or the unhealthy relationship at all. To any extent where like people are going out and seeking those kinds of relationships, I feel like it's really the subject itself is taboo. So people kind of flock to those things that are a little bit on the fringe and the taboo, and they don't want to, and they don't really, it's not that they want to be involved in it, but people are voyeuristic and they like to see it. And I don't think it's like necessarily being, it's not like it shouldn't be taken as seriously as some people are taking it. This book has garnered a widespread fan base. It kind of sparked polar opposite views. Those who enjoy the book and don't really care about the message, they just want to enjoy it for what it is. And those on the other side who are totally against it, they think it's glamorizing and romanticizing abuse and domestic violence, and they don't want this movie shown, and they don't want this book to exist. Do you think there is a right or wrong side? I don't think either side is right or wrong. I think there's obviously going to be a difference of opinion and difference of values. You know, it's like, I really don't think that there's like right or wrong. Personally, I would lean more towards the side that's like, it's just a book, it's just a story, it's not something to be taken too seriously. And, but on the other hand, also being a critical person, thinking about the implications that it could have on people who are sensitive to certain issues or who have certain sets of values or certain, you know, vulnerabilities. So,
well, kind of what she was talking about. There's a lot of other books out there. I mean, there's a lot of erotica, you know, romance novels, and I don't know the issues of the book itself, but I mean, why aren't those other books being publicized? Why aren't those other books being talked about? Because I think that those other books probably do have those kind of recurring issues where, you know, violence might happen, or you know, you see Jordan Sparks movies, and there is violence in those books, and in those, well, I've never read the books, but like in the movies, like there is a certain type of violence that happens in like Jordan Sparks books, and those books and movies are so well known, and you know, they're so like drawn to, women flock to, what's the movie book? Oh, The Notebook, right? Isn't there a certain type of violence in there where she's stuck in a bad relationship and she wants to be she wants to go to the man who she fell in love with when she was younger.
Right.
So, I mean, what's to say that that's not violence? I think it's just on perspective of what kind of views you come from, you know, what kind of family you grew up in, and I think that has a lot to say on what type of movies you go and watch, and how it inflicts your views on stuff. I do sometimes think that, you know, women want to fantasize about these certain things because it's not, as you say, taboo for women to want to be all this that the book is. And it's the man that wants to be, you know, more dominant over the woman because that's how society sees men, is they're the dominant and the females are weaker. I don't know if it's all women, but I'm sure there are some women out there that would rather be the more dominant than the male and have the first, you know, role. And I don't know if the book shows her being dominant over him or not. And maybe that's why you were saying it's domesticated, you know, domestic violence, and it's leading to all this violence. Maybe that's just the way society is, you know, it's the man being overpowering over the woman. But I wonder if it would be different, if the controversy would be different if it was the woman being dominant over the man. Would that lead to something else? Would there be less flocking to this movie? Would there be less flocking to the book? Would it have sold as many, you know, copies as it did? Would there be so much hype about the movie? It's just like putting the shoe on the other foot, basically.
Well, I find it really interesting, though, that in the book itself, it totally glosses over the fact that the character Christian Grey is the way he is because of a woman, because of violence that was inflicted on him by a woman, a dominatrix. So it's like, but it totally glosses over that. Like it's like little bits here and there you hear of his story, but the book mostly focuses on his relationship and his domination over this.
Because he was dominated over it?
Yeah, like that's, you know, it happened.
So that's probably just
how
a
he became
fixation. Yeah, it's probably a fixation that he's created over because someone overpowered him.
Right.
And so because it's that, like, what I like to call that bully effect.
Right.
When you've been bullied or you've been picked on or you've been something that's happened to you, you normally want to go out and do it to others.
So a lot of people have been criticizing this book, saying that because it's a fantasy book, people, girls, especially girls and females, they, after watching this movie or reading the book, they will actively seek out people like, or, you know, have the similar characteristics as Christian Grey, and they will,
Now,
you know, they
want
wouldn't,
that, right? They're seeking what that book is,
But
right?
do you think that they will, they will actually physically seek out, or do you think
Because
girls know better?
I think women want sex because they want the love, not because they want the violence.
Initially, I wanted to get, you know, kind of like a balanced mix of interviews. Those who are fans of the book, who read the book, and those who are not necessarily fans of the book, and who haven't read the book, and males and females. I wanted to get a balanced mix of interviews. But because of the time, and because it's opening night tonight, I want to get this video out there as soon as possible. Because of the timing, I'm so glad that I got at least an interview done with 2 people. I've also asked people on my Facebook and on forums. I will leave some of their comments in the video itself. It's kind of like a mixture of views, so it kind of gives you guys a different perspective. So now that I've made this video, what do you guys feel about 50 Shades of Grey? I know that I wanted to get a male's perspective on this. I mean, I guess I can count as male perspective, but I wanted another male. So, you know what? If you have feelings or thoughts about this movie, if you hate it, if you disagree with me, if you agree with me, leave your thoughts down below, and I can't wait to read them. If you have any thoughts, leave them down below, and I'll see you guys later. I don't know, it's just, I'm really excited to watch this movie because I want to feel the experience. I mean, even with surrounding the controversy, I'm excited. But, you know, I understand those who don't like this movie. I understand you guys. I mean, some of you have been in abusive relationships, which I totally get, and it's really unfortunate.